All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a little bit of an interesting video. A couple NBA news came out today, and I wanted to go over it, and I wanted to let you guys know my thoughts on it. So, the first one I'm going to talk about on the screen here is a trade that just happened today where Terry Rozier from the Charlotte Hornets got traded to Miami for Kyle Lowry and a 2027 first-round pick. Now, me personally, not only as a Heat fan, but unbiased opinion, I do really like this trade pickup. Excuse me. I like this pickup because Terry Rozier is actually playing really well. He's averaging right now a career high 28.3 points per game right now. And Lowry has not been doing that well this year, unfortunately. He's averaging... so Rozier right now at 29, he's averaging a career best 23.2 points per game, along with 6.6 assists per game, also a career high, and 3.9 rebounds. And he's in his 5th season with the Hornets. Right now, Lowry, I think, was averaging not very many points, like 8 points per game. I think like 3 rebounds and 3 assists and like 2 rebounds or so. So he hasn't been playing his best basketball this year, but he did put a lot of effort into trying to help Miami, which trading what they did, I think it was like Omer Yurtseven and the other big guy. Oh, I'm going to hate myself for not remembering his name. Let me know in the comments what his name was if you know what the Raptors got for Miami. Sorry. But anyway, so that trade at first I thought was good when Lowry came to Miami, and he's been playing okay, but he's later in his career where you really don't know every game. You really don't know what kind of Lowry you're going to get. And you can really say that about every player, but in that aspect, I think he started to digress, and he gives a lot of effort, but sometimes he's kind of a defensive liability, especially because how small he is, which is really unfortunate because he's kind of one of those little bit more, like I said, he's on the smaller end of the point guards, and he can play really well when he wants to, and especially when they were going to like their playoff runs, sometimes he would show up in big moments when he was needed, but not a lot. So as a Heat fan, I do want to thank Lowry for all of his efforts that he put forward for the Miami. And I wish him the best, and I hope he can find somewhere where he can finish out his career, because I don't believe that the Hornets are going to keep him. I believe the rumor was that they're going to buy him out if they're going to work on a buyout if they can't trade him somewhere else, which is really unfortunate, but you hate to see it. But I think you can't pass up an offer like this, especially because Terry Rozier right now is playing pretty well. And they did need a little help at the point guard position, which this gives them a really good guard, especially as this picture shows. That gives them a lineup now of Scary Terry, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, and Jimmy Butler. Now that puts a really good scorer next to Jimmy and Hero when he shows up, because Hero shows up really well this year so far. Unfortunately, when he sprained his ankle, he was out for a while, but he's still playing really good basketball. And this, I think, puts Miami in a really good position to kind of put teams on notice, and especially because right now they're 6th in the league, or 6th in the I about said 6th in the AFC. 6th in the Eastern Conference, so they're not out of the playoffs, but they're just outside of the play-in, I think. But I really do like this pickup, and I'm excited to see what he does for Miami because I think this is going to be a really nasty lineup once they start gelling together, once they find that team chemistry with him and figure out how to put him in. It really was unfortunate because I think I did see something yesterday about Lowry removed Miami on his Instagram bio after the rumors were that he was trading or going to get traded. And I mean, it's not even just a player aspect, but it's also a financial aspect because I think Lowry's cap hit next season was going to be about, I think somebody told me it was about 29 million, I think. Hold on. Yeah, 29 million. In 23-24 season, Lowry will earn a base salary of 29 million while carrying a cap hit of 29,682,540. Yeah, because he had a 3-year, $85 million deal when he was at his former team. So I think they're going to get a little bit of a cap hit there. But I think it's a better option in the end because especially if you decide to keep Terry Rozier, if it plays really well, I think that could be a very good core because Terry Rozier is only 29. And these guys, aside from Jimmy, which he plays really well out of his mind sometimes when he decides to when he shows up in the postseason, he goes bonkers. Unfortunately, this year I think he's missed a lot of games, which hopefully they can get that under control. But Bam's been playing out of his mind. Hero, once he's out of the injury, he's been going nuts. He's ready to prove that he's the guy. But I'm excited to look forward. I'm excited and I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes on from here. Now, the next news I did want to talk about also is it's a little bit of a blurry picture. Sorry about that. But the Bucks, after firing their coach, they're hiring Doc Rivers as their head coach going forward this season. Now, this one I think is an interesting situation for me, especially because of the type of roster they have, and they're second in the Eastern Conference for record. So they weren't playing bad, but I did see that the players were starting to lose their motivation, losing their trustworthiness for their former coach, Adrian Collins, if I remember right. Adrian Griffin. Wow. Adrian Griffin, sorry. But they really just, I think, I'm hoping that Doc Rivers, for the Bucks, you got to hope that Doc Rivers can come in and he can learn and he can utilize their players well, especially because I think sometimes they've really kind of underutilized Dame more. But really, when you have players like Chris Middleton, Dame, and Giannis on the same team, you really kind of have to find that sweet spot where all of them are being used in their aspect and used to their greatest of the potential you can get out of them. But it'll be interesting to see how well the Bucks do, especially hiring a coach in the middle, not in the middle of the season yet, but like it's still earlier in the season, especially because it's not even the All-Star break yet. It's coming up, I think. The All-Star break is coming up, but still it's earlier in the season where he's going to have to change things if he wants to change them, and they're going to have to find a way that he knows how to utilize them. which I think he can pull it off, and I'll be interested to see how that goes as well. That no. And you really, when it comes to the coaching, when your players start to lose confidence in you and start to lose, once you start to lose the locker room, you really it's a recipe for disaster sometimes. And especially you can talk about that too in like with the Steelers as well, when players back in the day when Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown were in there, and they were great players, the killer bees, and then people wanted their contracts, people wanted to hold out. You really start to lose the locker room, and sometimes, and especially when Matt Canada was in as offensive coordinator, he was really starting to lose the locker room because people were getting really tired of Matt Canada's offense. So then you have to get rid of him. I mean, unfortunately it happens, and you see it a lot in the sports now that organizations are so trigger. I want to say trigger happy, but I don't think it's trigger happy. I think they would rather fire their coach because they put the blame on them more than often. And sometimes in the aspect you can only really, as a coach, you can only really do so much until it comes down to whether your players are actually playing like they should and executing like they should. But unfortunately it happens in our current state of sports. It happens a lot. I mean, Tennessee just hired a new head coach as well, especially because Mike Vrabel, he took them to quite a few playoff runs. He did pretty well, but after the very lackluster start that they had at finishing the season out of the playoffs, especially with a guy like Derrick Henry, you really just kind of have to go and hope that the next guy starts. But it kind of gets a little situational because organizations are costing their leagues a lot of money because of that. But I'm hoping it works out for Giannis and them and the Bucks, and see how they perform moving forward. Now, the last bit of information that I've seen today is that Tristan Thompson got suspended for 25 games for violating the anti-drug policies, I believe. Tristan Thompson violating NBA drug policy. Yep, he's getting fired. I keep saying fired. I'm sorry. Suspended for 25 games without pay. It's really unfortunate, but honestly, as so far right now, he's not even. I don't think it'll hurt the Bucks. I don't think it'll hurt the Cavs as much because he's only averaging 3.8 points per game, 3.9 rebounds per game, and 1.1 assists on a 64.9% field goal percentage. And especially at 32, not very many players. Not very many players after that last very much longer, especially in the game of basketball. But I did see that he violated the league's drug policy. Officials said that he tested positive for performance-enhancing ibutamorin and something called SARM LGD-4033. But that is a really unfortunate thing for him. Hopefully he gets his stuff together, and it just, it is what it is. But that's all I really had so far. That's all that really happened. Once the trade deadline happens, and once the trades, because usually teams kind of go nuts with trades, right at the end, right at the trade deadline. So I'll be excited to see what happens, and I'll obviously be going over those once they happen. And maybe on these videos, maybe I'll make these quick videos as well once news happens each day if it's exciting news. I'm kind of waiting on Suicide Squad to come out at the end of the month. Otherwise, I don't want to really rinse and reuse content that I've done so far. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on these three 3 topics that I've talked about. Let me know what you think that the Hornets are going to do with Kyle Lowry. Let me know how you think how this new scary Big Four, I could say, is in Miami. That's going to be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the bell notifications because we are constantly making out videos. And if you guys like to see these videos, definitely don't forget to like and let me know in the comments what you think about it, because I would like to talk about, NBA more. Not only... Sorry if you can hear that. That's my dog. He's kind of a psycho. But... that's going to be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Again, like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the bell notifications. And always strive to have a good day and strive to be your best. Thank you. We'll see y'all in the next one. Deuces.